Municipalities are losing close to 10 billion rand worth of water every year as a result of burst water pipes, water theft and inaccurate meter readings. Now that's the warning from the South African Academy of Engineering, which is also urging municipalities to reduce the loss of water. Now that body has also called on the Department of Water and Sanitation to reinstate its blue drop and no drop reporting to address water loss as a matter of urgency. Let's unpack this issue now. We're joined by a water expert and a fellow at the SA Academy of Engineering. That's Neil McLeod. Neil, good morning. Thanks again for your time this morning on the show. It's an important discussion. The question is, how accurate are these readings about just how much water we are losing as a country?
Well, to cost that loss, you have to go into how that cost is made up. And the water that we get in our homes and in our places of work has to be carried from its source, which is either a river and a dam or a borehole, and brought through a treatment process, stored close to your place of work or living, and then distributed through a network to your house. So those costs all have to be recovered by selling the water. The cost of the dams, the cost of treating the water, the chemicals, the electricity to pump the water, the cost of maintaining the network, all those costs have to be factored into the tariff. And we know what those costs are. We know what the size of the loans are that have to be recovered to pay for the infrastructure. We know what it's costing to treat the water and pay for the electricity. So those costs are known, and you divide it by the total amount that's produced. That gives you a price. 41% of that water doesn't recover a cost,
sure,
for the reasons that you mentioned in your introduction. The water is either lost, it doesn't get to anybody, so it might spill out of a reservoir because it wasn't managed properly and when it got full it overflowed, or there are leaks that are not being fixed. So of the 41%, about 30% of that is what we call physical losses, where the water leaks out of the pipes, is never delivered to anybody. It's put back into the soil.
Sure.
Total waste. So all that money that you've spent is lost.
And I mean, this is a discussion, Neil, sorry for the interruption there. This is a discussion we have time and time again, the issue of how well we are taking care of our infrastructure. And as it pertains to water, going by the numbers and the situation you've just described, the answer would be not very well.
Well, that comes back to the problems that we face with municipalities. Only 6% of the municipalities in South Africa are not considered to be either vulnerable or extremely vulnerable from a financial point of view. So we have a lot of dysfunctional municipalities trying to do a very difficult and complicated job with very limited financial resources. Because of these things like low revenue collection, high non-revenue water, they're not collecting the money that they need to run their businesses. So they're trapped between not having the right people and not having the right budget and then trying to do this job. And the other thing that makes it even more difficult for us as a developing country is that we have to expand the network, in other words, lay new pipes to get to the people that don't have, while at the same time we have to replace the aging pipes that are starting to fail. And you have this delicate balancing act between what do we spend our money on? Do we spend it on connecting the people that are drinking polluted water out of streams and boreholes that are not in good condition? Or do we fix the pipes that we've already got so that those people continue to get a supply? And that we're not getting that right at the moment as a country.
I want to talk more about the financial benefits of reducing water losses. Our finances high up on all of our minds, given the finance minister's medium-term budget in Parliament yesterday. But I want to first just chat to you about why the issue of water loss in our country is so important. And you know, one of the chief answers, I suppose, is because we are already a water-stressed country and we really can't afford it.
Exactly. South Africa is the country of contrast even when it comes to rainfall. There are two provinces, KwaZulu-Natal, where I live, in the Eastern Cape, where 60% of our rain falls. And that's only 16% of the country. So where I live here in Durban, we have 1.2 meters of rain a year. The Drakensberg has 3 meters of rain a year. But if you spread the rain that falls on the country over the whole country, we only get about 460 millimeters of rain a year. That's about half the world average. So we are are a water-stressed country. We're almost like a desert country. So we don't have the same amount of water per person as most countries in the world. And that means we have to carefully guard our water. That's the one side of the story. The other side of the story is that if we don't get enough water to our people and to our consumers, then we have to provide more water than we need to, because half of it, 40% of it, is getting lost. So what we're seeing at the moment is there are proposals to build new dams that we actually don't need. It's far cheaper to fix the leaks and get that water to where it should have gone than building another dam to feed the leaks faster. And this is a debate we're having at the moment. Are these announcements of building huge new dams to create jobs really the right way to go? Or should we be spending that money to fix the leaks and replace the pipes and replace the meters? In fact, those kinds of projects create thousands, tens of thousands of jobs compared to a few hundred or 1,000 jobs to build a dam. So if we want to, even from the job creation and the country's economy point of view, fixing the leaks, replacing the meters is a very economic wise route to follow.
And another solution to our water challenge in the country is, we talked about in our introduction those initiatives by government back in 2014, the Blue Drop and No Drop programs. I mean, first of all, why were they not continued as an oversight mechanism for municipalities? And we should, with a matter of urgency, reinstate them, surely.
Okay, this is a tricky one. So the Blue Drop and the Green Drop tell you how well your water business is being run in your municipality. And of the 280-odd municipalities, only 144 have the authority to supply water. They're called water services authorities. That's the way the country was divided up, because the little tiny municipalities don't have the capacity to do it, so it was given to the districts, or it's done by the metros. Of those municipalities, when the Blue Drop was last done, which says how well is if you're running well and your losses are controlled and you've got good plans, you get what's called Blue Drop certification. I think there were only about 40 municipalities out of the 140 that achieved Blue Drop certification. And when the last results were due to be released, the information I have is that they were so bad that they couldn't be released. Sure. Because they were actually an embarrassment. So and that was before COVID-19. I would think the situation is even more drastic than it was then now. So yes, I think it was a bad news story at the wrong time. I think there were elections around about 2014, and so the 2015 results were just never released. And if you don't measure, you don't know. So we actually now are talking about data that's based on 2014 information.
Neil, we could go on for a very long time talking about what is such an incredibly important issue. Thanks so much for shedding light on the water situation in South Africa. Water leaks costing us some 10 billion rand as a country, 41% of our potable water produced by municipalities actually being lost through leaks. That's Neil McLeod. He is with the South African Academy of Engineering. Thanks so much once again.